players expect when they first buy into your early access and try your game?
Okay. So what is scum? There's no short version answer for that one. But scum is going to be the next level of survival. That's what we've been telling everybody. Everybody's being able to see that, I guess, for now with our videos, where people that have a thirst for survival games, shooters as well, simulations, want to dive in and find their whole cup of tea, cup of cake, platter of any food you want to have. Let's go with that kind of.
Okay. So to kind of comment on that a little bit, is it okay? Am I allowed to talk about the testing that I've done
Yeah,
for the past couple? Okay, perfect. So, I've noticed in Scum that you guys are really kind of going for that all for one kind of gameplay. You guys have this awesome, massive sandbox environment which you can explore with your friends or alone, and you can survive and live in this kind of harsh environment where there's like mechanized robocop robots that want to kill you, and zombie like husks that are around trying to tear your face off. But there's also like these team deathmatch modes and events that you can opt into anywhere in the world and immediately just get into some combat if you're bored. So what is your guys' like pace in terms of like what you want the players to do? You just want them to have the freedom to do whatever they want?
yeah, exactly. That's in my opinion kind of the beauty of Scum, that any type of player can come into Scum and play at their pace, at their leisure, any type of gameplay they actually want to play. As you said, like there's events like, hey, if you just want to go in and shoot stuff, you have the events. You can go with them. If you want to be a total pacifist, you can just go roam. The island is huge, and you can just go roam around, sightsee, and just have a nice time. Or like if you're like a hardcore survival person who's into like as we'll probably talk about from metabolism. If you're like
Hmm.
into that and have a certain goal aspect to make the perfect character, or in your eyes, whatever you perfect want it to be. So really, Scum it offers everything to anybody.
Hmm.
That whatever you want to play, whatever you want to have your play stuff. Well, obviously we don't have dragons, so yeah, sadly I would like to, but hey, can have
A little
everything.
bit of fantasy.
But yeah, everybody can have their cup of tea from in Scum.
Nice. I like that a lot. It's just I think player choice is something that's definitely awesome in a game like that where you just kind of let the players make their own story. Instead of really like kind of forcing their hand on what they're supposed to do. Um, so kind of moving on. So starting out in starting the overall experience, like how would you um, explain to us the process of spawning, entering into the game, what players should do when they first get into, and once they get on the island, what should players generally be doing? Should they be focusing on like crafting and getting items? Should they be, trying to get, obviously their hydration and energy levels up, stuff like that? What should you exactly expect new players to be doing as soon as they get in?
Well, that kind of depends. It will vastly depend from where you spawn in the first place. Uh, of course, we are trying, as said, to make an aspect of approaching the gameplay that even if you spawn in a dense place of forests and woods, you can you can be in that forest for quite some time and have things to do, from finding maybe some berries in bushes, uh, fruit trees for food, or maybe craft
Hmm.
items as well, from weapons, from shelters, from boxes to stash your stuff in, or maybe you can go direct to the cities and start looting there. But as I said, it will also depend on the situation that yourself find in. If you spawn somewhere, maybe up in the mountains, and the climate is a bit cold, you might want to focus more to get some warmer clothes, so you don't get a cold, or
Yeah.
so that your health is still in a good situation, a good spot. Uh, so yeah, regarding that, I said scum. The biggest factors that's going to be is because the scum is a totally dynamic world.
Hmm.
Uh, the world, how it plays out by itself, is going to shape your character and your play style. You will need to adapt to the world. Like I said, if you spawn and if rain starts hitting in, you want to get it clothes dry, you want to find a shelter, and to avoid possible diseases, also maybe avoid possible enemies from puppets or animals as well.
Hmm.
Or if you were lucky to spawn somewhere nice on the beach, on the seaside, you can go have a swim in the water. You know. So yeah, it will vastly depend on the circumstances you will spawn in, and like it's not gonna be same for everybody. It's impossible scam for everybody to be the same.
Right. So it's going to be a truly unique experience.
Exactly.
Sequisha, do you have anything to add? Like any kind of questions or comments you have for Wonder?
Uh, I mean, not particularly. Not until we like kind of get into
Okay.
it. I mean, like one of the first things that really kind of came, or that I don't know, that came to mind with the different frames of like or people's physique
Hmm.
is there's gonna be people that are playing it just like what was it Grand Theft Auto San Andreas
Yeah.
just to like get like a really bloated character
Yeah.
or a really skinny dude or whatever. That's pretty much what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
They're like, hey,
They're gonna
I'm
make
just
these
making
really trolly characters that just look
yeah.
hideous.
This week I'm making the fattest guy on the server.
Hey, but
Yeah, I
as a
mean,
fat guy though, hey, what's cool is that in Scum, you have like depending on the size of your body, completely changes your character's attributes. So if you're really fat, you may be slow, but you're really smart and you can take a ton of damage. Or if you're really strong, you can carry a lot of weight and you can move far carrying a bunch of heavy shit. Or if you're skinny, you're real limber, you can move around and be more agile, but you're more frail, you're more prone to damage. So it's really cool to see how dynamic that system is just in terms of the body and how much it can affect the gameplay. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I
yeah,
think the character creation will just give us like a whole load of people that try out everything.
Yeah,
Because there's something for everybody.
yeah, it's going to be incredible.
yeah.
So
That's why it's. I'm sorry. It's like the only point where you can be similar to somebody else in the game to have a similar character is only when you create your character. If you say, okay, clean you and me, let's make the same characters, and we start the same, but in a matter of beginning of the few 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, they're gonna start splitting apart, and in the long term, it's impossible to have two the same characters.
I see. So they're pretty dynamic, and they'll like literally
Yeah,
change as they go through their journey and survive in the environment.
yes, exactly.
So speaking of the environment here, one thing that a lot of people are very concerned about is the loot economy, and this is actually something that I know the Black Site team and a lot of our moderation staff helped you guys out. Really refine your loot economy while we were in the internal dev branches testing your game. People are concerned that this is going to become another DayZ standalone running simulator where you go from one point, you go to a town, you loot a bunch of stuff, and you don't find anything, and you have to go to the next town, and you're just running again, and then you maybe find like a shirt or something, and you kind of keep going on. How long is it going to take to get a gun? Like, how long will it take to get bullets? How long will it take to find a mag to put those bullets in? Finding like good armor or backpacks or clothing. Like, how challenging is that going to be for the player?
For now, when Scum will start, uh, we, it's not really gonna be too hard, uh, because still the game needs to be fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we did for the start when the game was released, we pumped up a bit of the loot and the spawning rate. How fast you will find it? Well, it's going to depend how really you want it, because we have a certain we showed in our last stream of points of interest in the game where there's a lot of military
Mm-hmm.
weapons, mags, bullets, vests, armor, clothing. But we also showed it's pretty hard to get there and to get out alive. Of course, you can also find weapons in cities and
Mm-hmm.
in small towns. We try to go like okay, what weapon you might be able to find on a little maybe farmstead
Mm-hmm.
that's outside of a city. What can you be? It's more possible to find like more in a city where it's maybe even a police station,
Mm-hmm.
police items there as well. So it's gonna vary. You may be able to find more like small caliber hunting
Right.
rifles on the outskirts than in the city, but you may be able to find possible more guns in the city than somewhere else. But of course, if you really want to go gun crazy savvy, as you would call it, you want to throw your eyes onto the points of interest
Yeah,
regarding how
the military locations, the
exactly.
bunkers, and the prison, or excuse me, the prison.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. And it seems like you guys like, cause like since I've already been playing, since I've seen the economy kind of shape up, and I will tell you guys who are watching right now, if you go to a town, you're gonna find civilian clothes. You're gonna find, you know, maybe a pistol, or you'll find a baseball bat. You're gonna find general items that you'd find in a town. You go to a police station, you'll find police coves, you'll find pistols, you'll find batons, you'll find police style backpacks. You know, you go to a military base, you'll find military clothes, you'll find assault rifles, you'll find you know, sniper rifles, AKs, big military backpacks, armor, and helmets. So wherever you're going to go in the environment, you're going to find the items that you'd expect in those locations. And obviously, as Wonder said, they're going to tweak it a lot. You know, they're going to add a lot more stuff in the economy. They'll separate it from like residential to police to military to maybe even like hunting or pharmaceutical or food. And, you know, it could get really diverse. So, you know, it's not going to be, and I'll tell you from my experience, from what I've been playing, it's not the DayZ running simulator at all. You go to towns, you find loot, you find guns. It's not, you know, you're not going to find an arsenal, but you'll find an acceptable amount of items that feels reasonable. You know what I mean? So it's really good to know.
I mean, what I also can say about like, okay, even you find a gun, you find a mag, you find ammo for it, you find everything you need for it. It's still, you're not a king of the world at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not, oh nice, I'm safe, the game's mine, and that's it. No. We showed in our streams, don't shoot too much, because it can get tricky.
Oh, I know that. I shot a gun when there's a town full of zombies, and it like they all just like, they're like doing their little thing. They just sprint towards me. It was honestly one of the scariest things. I wasted all my ammo killing all the zombies. It was extremely intense, but a great time. Esper, what were you gonna say?
And by yourself. Oh, I was just gonna say, to follow up with that. I have a bit of a background in DayZ and played it for quite a bit. So with the loot economy, do you plan on making things spawn, like, let's say guns? Ammo, will the ammo spawn with the guns, or do you have to search within that area to find the actual ammo for it, the mags? How will it work?
It's dynamic. You know, you will need to find. Maybe you will be lucky, and you will, in the same crate, you will find a gun and the ammo. Maybe, but most of the time you won't. You will need to find ammo on the other side. Like each piece of like a mag and that gun ammo will be probably separated. Of course, you will be able to craft ammo if you have a high enough skill, and if you find the materials as well. So, you know, it's, I mean, it's gonna depend as well on luck, but again, if you really want to get stashed up, you know, as Clint said, go to the military, go to the prison, you'll find something there. That's pretty much 100%. But again, what I just want to say, that is for now, because we also want to focus a lot on crafting as well, trying to mix those two aspects together. So for later stages, we'll see how it will pan out. Maybe like for people who actually are maybe a bit scared of that, I'm sure like when if you want to like rent your server, you will also have some admin like controls where you'll be able to set like loot. How do you want it to spawn even more? Do you want it to spawn even less? And on the long term, maybe even we will try to tweak our servers, maybe to have some servers that are higher loot, maybe some that are lower loot, or no loot at all. If you want to, you know, really just decide from the nature, you know, that's also fine. So we're really flexible regarding those, and you know, we'll see what's going to be the best approach for the players of Scum to like enjoy the game.
Well, of course, you're going to have to listen to community input to, you know, affect general quality of life change. Like, of course, all you guys at the studio, you guys know what game you're making. You guys have your vision. You know, there's probably a small majority of the player base who could probably see your vision as well, because they're not the ones creating the game. They're just experiencing it. But, you know, it's really cool that you guys are going to be receptive to that feedback and, you know, improve the game based on the majority of the testing community's input. And I think that's extremely important to be, you know, transparent with your communities and try and be involved.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. I got something to add while we're on the subject of server like tweaking and that type of thing. I don't know what you guys have in store so far, but I feel like it's probably not that great of an idea to give too many admin you know, like sliders and settings, because honestly, Like there's a lot of games like I could say like Conan Exiles, for instance. You could change everything. So somebody would spool up a server or rent one, and they'd change all kinds of shit where, you know, like people didn't even know what kind of server they were getting into. Not only that, but you really fracture your player base. And I don't know. I don't know. I would make sure that you drive home what your idea of Scum, what the experience should be before anyone can play with any of those settings, because you're going to get a lot of people that are going to get the game, join a server that's got really garbage settings, and they're not going to get they're going to have a sour experience of the game. So I don't know. That's just my suggestion.
So basically what you're saying is like trying to maintain like a consistency in the gameplay to make sure it's not like different, you know, drastically different from server to server. Okay, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, of course. Like that's a totally valid point that you made. In the start, like you won't have like hundreds of sliders that you can choose, you know, because obviously, can we add them? Yeah, of course. We'll probably break the server, break the game that you won't be able to play it. Yeah, pretty much it will that as well. It's like for the beginning wise, it's gonna be just a few of them, you know, to see how it works, and to see actually the feedback. I mean, my opinion is like we'll see how it works when it actually gets first into action, to see how the player base and the community will react to it, because we don't want to make like premature decisions to say, people won't like this, you know. Okay, let's see. I mean, there are cases that it's obvious what people like, what people don't like from past experiences, and you learn on them and improve on them. But again, for some, we just like to see, okay, let's see how it will pan out, and I'm proving that.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of those things too. Like, you know, if people are running their own servers, you know, they're going to change the server title to, you know, oh, the most loot, you know, come join this one. And
420, I mean, you know, absolute
right, exactly. So it ends up like really fracturing. It fractures a player base, and you know, it's just one of those things. Because like, you know, I want you guys to do really well, and I want other people to experience what the experience is that you have.
That actually makes me want to bring up a question though.
Fucking it all up.
Are you guys gonna have shared hives? So you're gonna have separate characters per server, or are you gonna have the ability to like have the same character on multiple servers? Because DayZ, so it's one character per server. There's no shared hives at all. That's awesome.
No,
because you know, obviously, you know, loot hopping. A lot of you guys who play DayZ, people just jump server to server and.
I'm gonna go to the barracks on 25x loot this time.
When I a few times played DayZ, and when I joined the server, I went to and there was a place, all military tents, all weapons there. I was like, what's going on? Is this like normally there in the middle of a field or something? I don't remember really, you know. And then after a few hours and researching, oh, okay, so they stashed their stuff there, you know. Okay, let's equip it there and let's go to another server as well. Right. I mean, I also heard a lot of stories regarding like going on once you get killed on one server by a sniper. Okay, I'll join another server, go to the spot where he is.
I think they called that ghosting. I think that's what ghosting.
I just like.
It's so lame. That's super lame. That's just it's too meta. It's extremely meta. And I honestly, cheers to you guys for taking that, you know, potential risk. You know, because people would bitch about, oh, I can't have the same character on all my other servers. I think that's honestly great. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. I think I've honestly always preferred just having like one hive. None of the problems with ghosting, jumping around servers for loot.
Yeah, you don't have that issue. So to kind of take the discussion a little bit different and kind of keep going the track here for the script. So play styles. What's your vision on exactly how players are going to be able to play the game? Like multiple sustainable, like are people going to have multiple characters? Are they just going to be focused on one guy? You know, what are the differences and benefits of having like a more PvP oriented character, a character who is very good at like maybe crafting and survival, or somebody who's just like really fit and strong, or maybe he's just really good at sneaking and camouflage. Like how are you guys going to balance out play styles and, you know, the overall character creation to set a role for your guy? Like, because like you guys are basically making people specialists at the end of the day, and that's what you're allowing the players to do. And how are you guys going to kind of balance that out, and even maybe make it like an RP situation? Like how are you guys like thinking about RP at all in the future, and like, you know, allowing content creators and or players of the game just to create stories in your universe?
Like, well, you seem to have put on a couple pounds, Freddie. What's going on here?
well, we really I'll be honest, we didn't think about role playing at all, because I don't think nobody in our studio on Game Pass really was into stuff like that. But I think we created by accident, by not even knowing for it.
Kind of
There
did.
was a suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I had a few testers coming. Oh, your game has really a lot of RP potential. I was like, RP, what? Oh, role playing. Ah, okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so we kind of made it by accident. Back to your point about we're trying to build up scum that like there's no you can't be in a perfect situation. There
Mhm.
will be always counterbalance for it. We had a lot. I had a lot of questions like, okay, I'll just make a super buff guy. I'll find a gun. I will ramp up my rifle skill to the max, and
And you're a
I'll
killer.
just
You're a
shoot
fucking savage killer, but that's all you're good at.
yeah, nice. Maybe a smaller guy. He's more agile, or even let's not take people into consideration.
Mhm.
You still need to feed that body. You know, put them gains where the
Where are
proteins
them
at, bro.
gains at? So
If you don't feed that body, that takes a lot of calories to maintain.
So
If you
is there
just
going to
start
be like dynamic body morphing? Like, will you lose weight in the world? Like, if you
yeah,
don't feed your character, will you lose muscle mass if you don't maintain your protein intakes and stuff
yeah,
like that? Wow,
yeah,
that's so
of
cool.
course.
That is
That's
so cool.
awesome.
That it reminds me of that mod in Skyrim. It's called it's like Muscle something or Pump and Iron, I think is what it was called. You're basically the more you fought dragons and stuff, your guy would just get more swole and bigger.
Mhm.
That's actually super cool. Like how you're and you were right. Like no one character will be the same. Like everybody's gonna go about their journey
Of
totally
course,
differently. That's so unique. Um,
totally. Like there's no I really was thinking about it, and I was trying to okay, in what situation I can be in a maybe physical standpoint or a loot standpoint that I'm OP. What can make you OP in Scum? And I really couldn't find. Maybe the people who start playing will be able to find
I
it.
was gonna say let the players find out because you let the player base find the most meta thing to do, and they will do that. They will.
You know,
They definitely will.
That's
know
awesome.
that
We love challenges.
I would love to see if there were individual like limbs that were like you had to keep them like if people just
Take
like
my
worked out
strong
just one
hand.
arm, yeah, just one arm. It was like this skinny little shit with one large arm that he would just one shot shit with. That would be fucking really funny.
That'd
It's
be
like, man, your right
interesting.
arm's looking awfully big, man. What you been doing? I've just been,
Like
over
Ghost
there in the
Wall
island,
window.
Going to a breakup. But okay. Yeah, we have a lot of ideas and what I hope Scum will be a success. What we want to have in the game from the point where you maybe if your medical skill is not big enough, you get hurt, your arm gets infected, it starts spreading, gangrene starts to hit, and you need to amputate your arm. And now you need to play without one arm. You need to fight, and when you talk stuff about it, it just starts to piling up.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Situation
that
after
just sounds like too
situation.
much. I'd rather just die at that point. Like I'd rather just be dead.
Well, maybe.
Let me get a new character.
That's totally fine, but like we are really ambitious regarding what because we made such a base for the game that we can build anything up on it,
Mhm.
and we really want to do it, and we want to deliver, the best possible diverse experience for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, there, it's I don't know,
Yeah.
people will need to really find themselves
Yeah.
out.
I think people are going to find themselves getting pretty sucked into this game because there's going to be a lot to do, and especially as you guys develop it on, post, your release that's coming up here really soon. I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to do in the future because I know,
Yeah.
this is just the beginning. This is just the first step. You guys are finally
Of
coming out and
course.
releasing. This is
Yeah,
not
actually,
yeah,
what I
it's
just
crazy.
want to add, we updated our Steam page. There's a roadmap now there.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, shit. We might have to go
Nice.
check this out. Well, hey, guys, check out the Steam page on Scum. I guess there's a roadmap for development. We might check that out on the podcast here in a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's standard descriptions. So I saw it down there. I hope I was not hallucinating though. But I'm pretty sure there's one.
Okay. So
So
moving,
yeah, you can
moving.
see what,
Sorry, go ahead.
they can see
Okay.
what we have planned.
Okay, so moving forward here, one thing that people really like in these open world survival games is base building, and like me myself, I think like one of the coolest things to do, and why I played like games like Epoch and Exile is I love to like build a base with my buddies and like go and just like store and do loot runs all the time. You know what I mean? And you know, are you guys planning base building? Like, what is the developer vision for how base building will work in Scum?
So, like, we won't have base building per se. Like, it's people know it. Like, let's go in the middle of the woods and just build up a shack.
Yeah, like a big old
No,
wooden
we won't
tower
have,
of death.
nah, yeah, we won't have that. What we have in mind is fortification of current buildings and like making it yours, you know. So you can go in there, use the furniture that's in there for storing loot and stuff like that. Uh, we we have like some we showed in the stream like where we built a small shelter, you know. Maybe we will just slightly improve on that part, but nothing in a way of like building
Right.
houses somewhere
Yeah.
around. So yeah, the idea is that you will be able to have a house for yourself fortified, put a lock on it, maybe barricade the doors, the windows as well. Be safe in there, put your stuff in there, you know, it's safe there. If somebody doesn't come, lock pick it and get in. But yeah, base building per se, like
So it's gonna be
people
more.
know it.
It's more like using existing structures and then fortifying them.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
so since it's gonna be like a fortification style, system, are you guys planning on like maybe adding fences and gates so that people can at least maybe create a perimeter around somewhere, like not necessarily create these massive like Rust towers like they do in Epoch and Exile and Rust, but you know, just like something that you make that's more or less like a compound and something you can feel that's relatively secure.
Yeah, we talked about something like that, like maybe to have a wooden fence, metal fence,
Hmm.
depending which one you can craft, want to craft. And we like that you know small idea of making a certain place like feel like kind of yours, you know, where you can come back to stash loot, maybe cook something over the fire, you know. So it's still an idea and it's still planned
Okay.
to be able to have something that you can call your own, besides you know 40 get in a house and
Right.
fortified from
Yeah, just
scratch, you
barricade
know,
the windows and such.
because like we don't have like it's not set in stone how it will be, you know. We know that it's going to be fortification of current buildings and that you will be able to make it your own and that people will be able to go into if they will have the certain skill set to do it. But there's still a lot of stuff to talk about and to make it actually be playable and good for the game.
Okay. So I have a question for Esper and Sequisha. So in your guys' experience playing open world survival games and games with base building, what are systems that you guys felt that worked well in a game in terms of building a base and other games where it did not work super well? Maybe it was too meta, you know, like these big ass towers and stuff with like multiple trapped rooms and stuff like that. How do you guys feel that, you know, would be a nice, reasonable level for base building to be in a game like Scum?
Go ahead, Esper.
Okay. So for Scum, I feel like the current system that's in plan is the best way to do it. Not big, massive buildings like in Arma or in Rust, but I played a lot of Breaking Point way back in the day, and I really like the system where you can just take a car, lock it up, store some stuff in there. You know, take a house, lock it up, and you have a little bit of a part of the world to go back to, replenish your stuff, and store all of your items. And I think that's a good balance, and it's also probably going to help server performance in that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sequisha?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's all come a long way. You know, you have like, I feel like the two ends of the spectrum that really worked were like where it originated was the tents and Daisy mod, and the tents, and that's where it began. And it was, you know, you could, if you hit it good enough, you know, you could keep stuff in there that you could, you know, come back to.
A perfect tree.
Yeah.
I remember those
Yeah.
back when.
You know, you're sitting there for an hour, like throwing it up and then unpacking it. And then,
it's like, it's not perfect yet. It's this most clunky system ever.
So there's that end of the spectrum where you just some type of storage, you know, even if it's not your base and like whatever. And then there's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is more like Rust, because I feel like Rust probably has the most well thought out base building pretty much of any game, I think, that comes to mind. So I don't know. I mean, but that whole game is pretty much built off of that. Like it's not an afterthought.
Like a core element.
So I don't know. Yeah. So, and like somewhere in the middle just really isn't kind of acceptable. I don't feel like when the base building's an afterthought, you can really tell. Like look on H1Z1, the base building sucked.
Well, you worked on
It
you were
sucked.
the developer for Epoch, so you worked on the base building like specifically. So that's something that you know quite a bit
Right,
about.
right, yeah. Well, that was something we did like over like like a weekend or two, or like 3 weekends, because I went and played Origins. I was inspired by Daisy Origins, but they were indestructible, and there's a lot of things wrong with it. So yeah, but that's a whole other thing. But and like Miscreated, even though that was a great game, like the base building sucks in that game too. Like I don't know. So I feel like if you're not going all in, it's not really worth.
That makes sense.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So Wonder,
I
think you said that they're going to be you're going to be able to create stashes, right? Like you're going to be able to create boxes, and you can bury these and like hide them away in different places and kind of make little cache sites around the map. And are you going to be able to like lock these and secure these, or are they going to be just up for anybody to go out and loot if they find them?
For now, we have just like one. It's just like a wooden box, and anybody can go into it.
Okay.
The idea is to in everything we do in Scum, we need to like to balance out the incorporate the survival and the crafting part as well. That box that you have, you need to craft it. We will probably added some maybe different types of boxes on that from the beginning. Like we have now a plain wooden box that just few wooden planks and good, to maybe a metal box that you can lock that has more storage space and it's more robust, more sturdy, and it's more secure. So it's gonna be different, depending on what you want in the situation that you want. If you just want to like, okay, I'll know I would go, point of interest in a prisoner somewhere. I have a lot of stuff. I just need maybe a backpack just to put a lot of stuff in it and get out. Let's make just a basic one. And if you have maybe a fortified building, or maybe your getaway, and there you have like a big nice box for all the stuff that you need to keep for yourself.
So it sounds
we
like
always try.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We try to make it so that there are certain levels, from the totally basic one to the one that's the best, so that the player always has options and needs to weigh the options. Okay, what for this situation would be the best to make?
Sounds great. I mean, it seems like you guys are going to do like the old school DayZ approach with the tents, just going to be different stashes and stuff.
I think that's great. Yeah. That's a great start for sure.
Absolutely. So let's keep moving forward here. So now let's kind of get into a little bit different. We've talked a lot about the open world. We talked about a lot about the the general experience, what you're going to see when you're on the island. So now let's go into the events. And right now we have a couple different events. You have like team deathmatch, some objective-based modes, a free-for-all. What's the frame? Like how will player interaction in the open world tie into the event system? And like how are you guys going to be expanding the events in the future aside from the current game modes that we have now?
So events, I'll be honest, events were not when we first started to make a Scum, we didn't plan events. But we were again like, why not try to throw in something in for like people who prefer that. So and we were like, but events also have they make sense regarding the lore of Scum. We also want to Scum have not just to be you spawned on an island, there's like undead walking all around.
Could you talk about the lore a little bit? Could you tell us like give people a little bit of an idea of what the lore is going to be like?
Course, like we didn't want to like, end of the world happened, everything went to shit, zombies walk around, that's it.
Normal apocalypse genre,
like everybody saw it.
Yeah, like, it's the same old stuff, same old survival genre. Absolutely.
The zombies.
So how's Scum different, really? How's Scum different?
Well, first, when people are like, oh my god, they have zombies, another survival game. Yeah. It's not zombies per se,
They're puppets.
They're puppets. We took like a kind of a cheeky sideway path to it. Like, pretty much Scum, the island, is a TV show. It's a huge TV show made by the biggest companies in the world, where they put convicts in for the entertainment of the masses. Fancy words throwing around. And when you, as a prisoner, go to the island, you're equipped with a chip behind your head.
What's that thing called? I forgot the name of it.
BCU, body control unit.
BCU.
Yes. Okay, so they put some alien thing in the back of your brain. They pick your brain. You're on the island. The BCU also actually works with the lore and the game. It gives you ability to see the whole user interface of the metabolism part and all of this stuff. And when you die, that chip takes control of your nervous system, over your body, and gets back up, and then you become a hostile NPC, a puppet for everybody else on the island, for the other players that are on the island. And pretty much in the foreground, the idea is just be there. You're trying to survive, kill other players. You entertain other the people that are behind the screens and watching it. You get more famous as well. That's where the fame points will come in. We'll talk about them as well. And of course, the TV crews will, yeah, okay, we put them on island, but they just like run around. Sometimes they clash into each other.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's somebody kills somebody, puppets eat somebody, okay, classic stuff. But let's spice it up, Oh, nice. Let's show events where we put them in there and they battle it out.
So it's like entertainment, like like people are wanting to watch, like, it's the free for all day, it's gonna be on my favorite show kind of deal,
Exactly. I mean, how do you prevent civil war? Put two people in a giant coliseum to fight to death, and everybody's happy and sees blood. Nice.
Yep.
Leonardo Day. So yeah, that's behind like why are there events? And I said, when you become more famous, your fame points, you will gain fame points.
Right.
As Scum, we are trying it to like fame points of the currency as Scum. Let's say it like that. How famous you are, the more you have them, the more approachable and quote unquote easier time you have, because reviving will also be calculated with fame points, like we showed it in our last stream. Like when you die, you have an option to get revived for a basic amount of fame points. It's like 10, 20 fame points. You revive anywhere on the map. You can choose maybe to get to be revived in a sector. The whole island is divided into sectors that costs more fame points. Then you have the ability to be respawned on a shelter that you make that costs even more, or to spawn somewhere around your teammates, because you will also have a team up option in Scum that costs the biggest amount of fame points.
I did notice that one of my favorite features is like, if you're like a new spawn, you can't respawn on your buddies, but if you have enough points stocked up, you can keep respawning on your team, which really kind of helps the ease of access, because a lot of people's complaints with a lot of open world games is you die, oh fuck, I gotta go back to the coast again and run all the way up north and meet up with my friends again. But if you sustain enough points, you can just keep spawning on your teammates. However, when you respawn, you don't have your gear, you're completely naked again. So if you're in a firefight and you choose to respawn on your team, you're gonna have to find a way to get back to your body so you can get your gun back, and it's not always gonna be just super simple. Or maybe you can't. You can't even spawn in on your buddies if they're in combat. Maybe they have to be out of combat for that to work. Who knows?
Well, of course, all those features that I'm talking about, not you see that they can be upgraded. We'll upgrade them or even change them. If something doesn't work, don't beat around the bush. Just remove it. Like we saw, like the one thing that we removed totally from Scum was the tactic skill that people saw. That was the red outline.
That was a good call. Good call removing that, to be honest. Basically
when he went like something like that. Yeah, we had a totally different vision for it, but even our vision was like, yeah guys, try to look from our side. Like most of the community were like, no guys, it really sucks. We're like, okay, we had another try. Okay, let's try to rework it, maybe to make it work. And we saw like, no, it's not really working. I'll just remove it. So we throw it out, and it's not in the game anymore. I totally forgot what was up.
You're talking about fame. We're going about fame points and stuff.
So yeah, like people were like when we showed the respawning on the stream that we had, people were like, okay, what if you die in a gunfight? You'll just respawn back at your teammate. There's also a thing, you can go into negative with fame points, and when you do that, actually, if you die a lot often, like persistently, if like that gunfight can cause that, you have a timer that needs to go. Like you have, first time you need to wait for 30 seconds to respawn. If you die in a certain short time frame, you won't have 30 seconds, you will have maybe 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and so on and so on. And until the peltory fame points, you can't respawn anymore, your fame is in the negative, and your character temporarily dies.
Okay.
So yeah, there's always a way to balance out things, and we strive to do it.
Yeah. I do have a quick question. I'm sure you guys have probably covered it then. since there aren't any shared character data between the servers, and their characters going to be locked in, what kind of combat log, like how long does it take for the player's character to leave the world, like when they log out, whether or not they disconnect or Alt F4 or whatever it might be?
Their character disappears from the island. I think it's 15 or 20 seconds or so. So there's a certain timer where, in any way you want to exit the game, he will stay in the world for 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's one of those things, just to make sure that people, like, combat logging is always something that's
notorious in these games.
Anything that some sweaty little necklord can take advantage of, they will.
The funny thing is, now that I think about it, one of the only games you can't really combat log in is EFT, because if you log out, you lose all your shit, and your character is stuck in the environment still.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I want to piggyback off of like the fame and the different play styles. So could you go over like how you can gain fame points and how the different play styles will kind of accumulate? So let's say like you're a survivalist, you just want to live out in the woods, make all of your clothes from animals you kill, or if you're just a PvPer, you want to loot, you want to shoot people. How do you go about gaining fame points?
How do I become the prison wallet master of the island?
Prison wallet, you say?
Hey, that's where I keep my shanks. Don't worry about it.
No, it's totally cool. Prison wallet. Yeah, we have something in plan for that.
Oh my God! No way.
No. Okay, let's go. Okay.
All right, we stripped him down naked, boys. He's got nothing on him. Thank you, game.
You gain fame points by pretty much doing anything really on the island. Of course, when you do, let's say, more attractive things for the cameras, you will get more than if you just like plainly survive, But like if you're just a survivalist and you just survive in the wilds, you probably won't put yourself into risky situations. Even if it happens to die, you're pretty sure that you will have enough fame points to respawn, so you don't lose everything. So there's all, and like you can gain a lot of fame points as well from the events, but as well from regular survival. If you play, let's say, a bit ballsy and you're going to action with puppets, with sentries, with other players, yeah, you get more fame points, but it's much riskier because there's a bigger percentage that you will die, and lose them as well. So gaining fame points pretty much by doing anything, just by crafting a stone knife in the beginning, you'll get a certain amount of fame points. Of course, I'm not saying that the system now is perfect and it's set in stone. We'll probably need to balance it out at one point in some certain way with adding new features. But yeah, we'll cross that road when we come to it.
Nice. Esper, you have anything else?
That's pretty much it for me.
Sequisha?
No. I mean, most of the important stuff. I'm just trying to nail down some of that stuff, like with combat logging, because that'll make or break. Like the combat logging, the combat logging completely broke that game. Hurt World couldn't even get off the ground because people were like, Alt F4, I'm gonna shape my character.
Yeah, we don't like people who combat log.
Let's see here.
Because neither do I.
Also, I just want to say real quick, hey, Cuddy, thanks for that massive raid, guys. Welcome everybody coming in from that host. We're doing the Scum podcast right now. We have our guest here, Sequisha, co-host EsperSKS, and our developer Wonder here from the Scum Development Studio. We basically have gone over a lot about the game already. We went over loot progression, end game, stuff like that. So if you guys want to catch that part, you're going to have to watch the VOD. But pleasure to have you guys here. Cuddy, thanks for that big raid. I appreciate it, dude. Welcome, everyone. So I want to kind of pull back to events real quick. And one thing that I personally, because I like the team deathmatch and stuff like that, I think it's really cool. But do you guys have any plans for like dynamic events in the world that are more like close to the lore? Maybe like a broken up Mr. Smiley, like a malfunctioning Mr. Smiley, or like a horde of zombies, or like a helicopter crash site, or just stuff that is more within like the lore. I mean, there's a lot of room to work, but other kind of events that are more just kind of spotted out in the world. Are there any plans for anything like that?
Yes, there is. Probably the first stepping stone for that we had in plan is probably some random cargo drops on the island.
Cargo drops, okay. Supply drops like PUBG and stuff.
Like, you do your stuff on the island, and you see an announcement, a big cargo is dropping on the island, that can
Okay, that actually sounds pretty cool.
You know, it can attract
Yeah.
players. You know, they need to decide.
Incite
Okay,
PvP.
Yeah,
how we will
Insight's
approach.
PvP for sure. I mean, and I assume these cargo crates will probably have some of the better gear in the game that you get,
Yeah,
maybe unique gear that you can't get anywhere else.
yeah, no, like so it will depend. You know, I mean, the if you like have a gunfight over it, you know, 10 people there and everybody wants that loot, and in the end of the hard gunfight, you're the last one standing. You open it, and then the bear molds your face, maybe.
There's just a
But
bear
you know,
comes out of there instead, dude. That would suck.
I mean, you guys are prisoners on an island. Why do you think you'll always get you won't get nice stuff all the time?
Yeah, of course.
And I think that would be great. People were fighting over a crate and a bear came out. Like,
Dude, hey, I'll tell you one thing though: the bears in Scum are no fucking joke. You do not try and fight those guys without a gun. They will kill you
Run.
so quick.
Why would like didn't DiCaprio show it enough? I mean, he had to fight a bear. I mean, and no, nobody.
Hey, can we get a dynamic event that's just a horde of bears and you have to fight them all, like waves and waves of bears?
I said like I'll be the only person in Scum that will be able to ride a bear.
Oh, that'll be cool. Like master survival skill, can mount any animal, fucking ride a wild boar around, squealing around and shit.
We're gonna need One Punch Man.
the guy with the big arms.
Oh my goodness. Okay, perfect. So that will conclude that on events. So let's get into another meaty portion of what Scum's going to be about, and that's PvP and combat, player versus the environment, players versus other players. What is the developers' vision in terms of PvP? Do you want people to KOS all the time? Are you expecting people to cooperate? How are you going to incentivize players to not always just shoot somebody for their loot instead of just maybe go up and have a random friendly interaction? How are you guys going to encourage that? Could you get negative fame points for killing somebody who has maybe who's a Bambi status or something, or will you get a lot of fame points if you kill somebody who's very notorious in the island? How's that going to work?
Yeah, when we're talking about that, that's actually probably a really difficult situation that you need to solve. When you present your game like, okay, Scum, you go in there, you do everything you wanna. It's we don't want to punish people for pretty much, and it doesn't make sense. You can do anything you want, but if you do this thing, we'll punish you. It kind of defeats the purpose. That's like regarding killing fresh spawns or new players that come into the game. You won't really gain anything from that. We'll probably maybe even have some kind of bounty system, where the most famous players on the island that have a lot of fame points, they will have a lot of gear, a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge. They will be maybe the biggest bounty, and people will hunt them more because will there always be people that will okay, I want to go and massacre new people that come in? It's a really douchebag thing to do. I totally agree with that. But we can't punish you for doing that. Maybe a good idea would be after some time maybe negative fame points because you're just being obnoxious and boring. Nobody wants to do that. But yeah, that's a delicate thing where you need to that part you need to balance out. Regarding the whole ecosystem of player interaction with the world,
right?
The thing that people kind of need to understand is that you really won't never be able to be above this world.
Sorry.
You didn't introduce the dog.
Somebody walked across the street and now he's upset.
You won't be able to be above the world in Scum. The whole world that's continually going on and evolving. It will always be pretty much your worst enemy and your best friend at the same time. Because at one point maybe you'll find yourself between 10 puppets because you did a stupid thing. You throw a tin can and a tin can is loud.
Yeah.
And zombies are attracted. Yeah, zombies are attracted to sound as well.
It was funny. Last night I was playing with another streamer called Smoke, where I was just kind of showing him the game a bit, and he had this car brake in his hand, and he threw it, and he goes, "Oh wow, that was kind of loud." And all of a sudden, a bunch of fucking puppets just come up from behind the house and just try and kill us. It was so scary, but it's so cool. I didn't expect that to happen, and it's so cool to see the environment react to sound and just player actions. Maybe you bump into a chain link fence or something, it makes some noise.
Exactly. So yeah, it's you'll be always against the world, you know. Of course, player interaction will also be important. Uh, I will always tell people, you know, rather try to go the friendly way, because you don't want another enemy on top of of the other stuff that can happen and go wrong, you know.
Hmm.
Rather try to survive and be, you know,
In
nice.
groups.
Of course, not everybody will be that, but karma is a thing.
Yeah. You know, one thing I did realize about Scum since I've been playing it, at least recently, is it is starting to turn into one of those games where there's a lot of common enemies, and it's not always the players that are, you know, going to be your main target. You know, the Mr. Smileys and the puppets, you know, they can be a real legitimate threat, and they can really mess you up. And who knows what other, you know, kind of enemies you have guys have planned for later down the line. You know, who knows if that's, you know, there's probably going to be flying freaking goddamn drones that are going to bomb you with whatever, you know, it's going to be crazy. So, you know, I think one of the best ways to encourage player cooperation is make the environment that you're in deadly, and, you know, increase your survival rate if you cooperate together, you know, and that's usually the go-to in a lot of games that I've seen, instead of trying to like force it.
How's the leash time for like the puppets and like the AI in general? Like how long do they stay kind of like glued to you and like aggroed on you?
That it depends, you know.
Right. Well, if they have a line of sight, like say if you broke a line of sight, you know, and you're like, I don't know, like you're no longer making noise, like do they quickly like leash, like lose aggro, or do they stay pretty focused on you for a good bit?
So how they work? Like if you, let's say, run from them, and if you go around the corner, the puppet will come to the last spot that he saw you. You know, and if you in that moment you like maybe you were able like to enter a house and duck, and now you're like in crouching position, silent. He will go there. He will stay there for a certain amount of time, and then he will probably start going back around. You know.
Right. Okay.
But again, there comes a lot of other stuff into factor, like how much actually you noise you make when you're just walking crouch. You know, we plan to maybe even add a lot of variety to puppets later on. Maybe some will be, they already are pretty, they vary. You know, the big ones, they soak up more damage, they do more damage, but they are slower than the smaller ones. The skinny ones, they're really fast. You know, they can catch up to you if you are weighed down by, let's say, a backpack that's full with items. You know, so there's always those decisions that that you need to make on the go, you know, because depending on the situation that you yourself find in, you know, it's never going to be the same. If three big puppets are chasing you or three skinny ones, you will need to make different decisions for every situation for that. Did I answer the question?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, like in depth. That was great. No, I appreciate it. Because I'm sure that's something that people are, you know, curious about.
Oh,
in
so
terms
to
of,
add
like,
to that
the-
too, to your question, the one thing that's actually kind of cool. So there's different fatness of the zombies, like really fat ones and skinny ones.
Right.
The fat ones will be a lot slower, but they'll take a lot of damage, and they'll kind of eventually get tired when they're following you. Whereas the skinny ones are a little bit faster, but they're easier to kill, and they can follow you for a longer time, and they can kind of just keep trailing you. But usually, if you break line of sight, they'll usually they're dumb. They'll kind of forget about you sometimes. But it depends how close they are,
Yeah.
to you, of course.
I've also noticed that during the testing that we've done, I've played around with my stats, and I've once put a lot of points into my stealth, and it really does affect how
Yeah,
you
of course.
interact with zombies and puppets. And watching how they interact with you once you've hidden and like crouching, it's really, really interesting the way the AI works.
Yeah. The zombies feel
Stat?
great. Like when you have a horde of them coming at you,
Yeah.
it really feels like 28 days later, like
Terrifying.
they're sprinting at you, and they like you can like see the motion in their bodies, like they're just like kind of the weight's kind of just like flailing around a bit. It looks so fucking cool, and it's really intense to fight like a big horde of them. And I always love the idea of like when you shoot a gun, you know, zombies will just start coming. They'll come to that sound from you don't even know where, you know. So zombies are the puppets. Sorry, puppets.
It's fine. It's fine. You will get used to it.
Yeah. So, Wonder, I wanted to ask you, could you go a little bit more in depth about the third person perspective and why you guys chose to do that perspective in the way that you did, and what are you doing to combat, you know, over the wall peeking and learning things that you shouldn't be able to normally?
Oh, well, Yeah, it's pretty simple. The thing that your character can see won't render regarding players, you know. So like if you are ducked behind a wall and the wall is like above your head in a third person perspective, if an enemy is going towards you, you won't see it because your character doesn't see it. You know, he needs to peek and to see, aha, okay, I see somebody behind the wall, and then that person will pop up and start rendering. You know,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, it sounds simple. It was a pain in the ass to get it into the game, but we made it, and it actually
Oh
works
yeah.
really good.
It's still a bit buggy because I was actually testing out last night with Smoke. We were testing out the line of sight on like some buildings, and some
Mhm.
buildings and would the collider would work and they would de-render, and sometimes it'd be buggy. You'd have to like move left and right, and then he'd kind of disappear and pop back in a bit. But it definitely works, and since I've been trying it out, I actually kind of like it. I think it's pretty fair because I like being able to see my character in third person, but I've always hated that the way people move and they like hug walls and try and peek. But I love the idea that if you actually want to see something, you actually have to move your character's head, and that actually creates a more immersive environment too. Because when players, say in DayZ, are playing in a third-person perspective and they're walking around, they look really weird when they're walking around the environment. They're just over there like hugging up against walls and moving up in just like
Yeah.
very unnatural ways. But
Yeah.
when you have this feature in, like actually players are feeling natural. If you want to gain information, and I'm sure everybody's seen that video from Dyslexia about third versus first person.
Yes.
He describes that very well of gaining information, and you guys have really found a great middle ground between the third person and first person. Of course, we're gonna have first person only servers. People are gonna still be able to do that if they want to do. But I
No,
really
not at the beginning. I
yeah,
just want to say that. So
not at the
yes,
beginning.
at the beginning, no, but we will definitely look into it because there was a lot of feedback just for like,
Yeah.
okay, can I make first person / third person?
Well, people just like that true
Yeah.
simulation experience, because that is the true simulation for a lot of people is first person.
Yeah.
But I do
I'm
recommend, guys,
definitely one of those.
when you try it out, like the third person is actually pretty fun. It works pretty well. The transitions between first and third is pretty smooth, and it feels solid. And so I think you guys are gonna like it a bit. Going in next, so the lore behind the puppets, like why are the puppets a thing? Obviously, we know the BCU monitor reanimates them after they die. But how are they supposed to behave in the world? How do they fit in the world? What is their main role in the game aside from just being a common enemy?
Well, the main role it is like I said to make situations more interesting for the prisoners, or more hard for them, but more interesting for the viewers. Outside, like, oh wow, it's gonna be awesome. Look at they see a guy walking. Oh, behind the corner there's like 4 puppets.
Mm-hmm.
The prisoner doesn't see it. The viewer said it's gonna be an interesting situation nonetheless. Uh, well, we there's a certain aspect of the lore that I still don't want to talk about that we will try to include also puppets in. uh, I can talk about. but yeah, like for now, the pretty much there's a simple reason behind it. They're here to make your life worse.
Okay, so they're basically just kind of like an equalizer, if you will, just like some kind of common enemy in the environment. And that's all they're
Yeah.
really there for, which
I
makes
mean,
sense.
like a lot of people like got fed up with zombies.
Yeah.
Like straight out zombies in survival games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're still zombies, but they're not zombies.
I mean, it's okay. Like there was an another zombie game. It was
Yeah.
like that a couple years ago. I think it's trailed off enough for like it's okay now.
Yeah. I mean, the puppets in the game, they feel good. Like they the way they fight you, the way they interact, the way they sound. They're not just like some shitty generic zombies. They actually feel very alive for how dead they are. If that makes any sense.
Yes. In my opinion, like the aspects of zombies in games are actually pretty good because you can do a lot of things with them. There's so much room to work with them, and they're a really good enemy in games overall. Like, of course, if you make a realistic simulation, a survival game, and you need to introduce some kind of enemy, and okay, it's zombies. In our case, puppets. We made them that way. There's a lot of ground to work on to improve them, and for a diverse play style to include as well. So the idea of it is pretty awesome in the game development industry because you can do so many things with them to have so much content.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that in the past they were pretty badly made in other games, yeah, that's a shame, but it doesn't mean that the idea is bad. It just needs to be executed properly.
Oh yeah, they're like the perfect thing, like the perfect antagonist. Because not only that, but you have like the same the same character skeleton, which helps with development time and all that type of stuff too. sometimes. One thing I did want to ask while we're kind of on that subject, talking about a little bit about lore and like the show from the outside and the whole purpose, is the like the show or the production that's going on, is that gonna like tie its way into the game, like for the players? Like, are they gonna see like little broadcast and or like any type of replay stuff or anything like that?
Watch
Yeah,
the
we
stream within the
actually-
stream within the stream. I can
Stream
stream in this
session.
game. Check this out.
The idea is at one point also to add missions and a campaign as well, to also enhance the single player. That's when we will probably throw in most of the lore-based story. Uh, like there's also what we know, like Scum. This is the second season of Scum the Island. The first season was like the trial one, and there are rumors that some convicts actually escaped the island. That's the end goal, and that they made a special militant group that's against the companies that made it, the whole regime that's the world is running on. So yeah, well, when we add missions and campaign as that and more those side stuff for the lore, we plan to add it. Maybe some kind of communication with the producers. Maybe each prisoner will have somebody on the producing crew talking with them just to make it more interesting. They can do whatever they want, with the island people on them, because they pull the strings, they pull the rules. So yeah, the answer to your question is definitely yes. We want to have that aspect of lore and people who actually like that aspect in games, not just okay, they're here in this right, awesome, but some people really like the lore, the idea, what's going on, to be a continuing part of that story as well, to shape it, to see how it goes, how it will end. So yeah, we definitely want to have that.
That's good.
Sounds awesome.
I mean, I couldn't give two shits about lore. I mean, I'm all about the PvP. But...
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fine
good
as well.
gameplay.
So I have a follow-up to actually go on that, because the lore does say it's a TV show. Is there going to be spectator tools? Because I've held events in DayZ where we've taken it's just like a survivor games kind of scenario where you'll take a bunch of people, throw them on there, and see what they're up to in every instance. Kind of more of like a broadcaster thing. Like, could we actually hold events and go and spectate different people?
Yes, we actually when we were at PAX, we had like a little spectator mode on. You were flying the little drone that you occasionally saw when we were streaming, and you were like spectating the event. Which team people there, and you saw every player where he is, red out on blue outline enemy teams, and you saw what was going on. We definitely would like to have that for the event, certainly. At least for that in the beginning, to see how maybe later we can add it to the survival parts as well. We're still not really sure for that, how it will pan out. But for the events, yeah, it'd be really awesome to have like a possible spectator mode, because it ties to the lore like perfectly.
I think it'd be pretty fun if you
does.
could like control one of those little drones from one of the military bases, and you could like see a live feed, and you could just like fly them around and like literally just like spawn people in environment. Maybe you like pull up on some guys randomly, and they see you, and they know you're watching them. And they just like take a shit on a table or something. Just do something really crazy. I think that could be really funny to just like spy on people.
There, I'll just add to that.
That's the poop burglar. He poops on people's tables.
There's a hacking / programming skill plan that will, if you're good enough at it, will maybe add you the possibility to maybe hack drones, to use them as surveillance, or maybe even hack into puppets, or even into Mr. Smiles. We'll see how we may make it. We don't want like a guy running on a huge robot and just shooting rockets at everybody. Right. It sounds fun, but I don't think it would be. But yeah, we have something like that in plans already.
Fantastic.
So with that, you're planning on changing up and improving Mr. Smiles. Is there any plans to do different things with maybe the prisoners, maybe adding weapons to the puppets, or changing up the wildlife? What are the plans basically for the AI, and what direction you guys want to take in that?
We want to make your life worse.
We want to make
Nice
it hard.
and concise.
I like that. I like that.
Make it
Well,
suffer.
Yeah.
like interesting, entertaining, worse, but fun nonetheless. You know, like there's a lot of ideas as well that we have in plan with the lore that I can't talk about yet.
In due
Uh,
time, in due time. Next podcast, maybe.
maybe we'll see. But yeah, you know, like of course, like yeah, we like the puppies. There are we as developers, as game partners, as a company, you know, we always strive to improve things, to make them better, to make them as good as possible. You know, so if it works and it's in the game, it doesn't mean it can't be improved. You know, obviously,
Yeah.
Scum will come out like now in 3 days. It's gonna be in early access. We had problems definitely.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of placeholders that still need to be made. You know, for now they work. You know, there's no problem with them. But of course, we want to upgrade them with a lot of animations. We need to do a lot of them to improve the game as well. So yeah, you know, uh, people of course need to be aware that what they see now in the game, it doesn't. It's not.
It's not
It's not the
final.
end of the product.
Yeah, and I
This is like
know, when we had a meeting a couple of days ago or whenever it was, you were telling me how you guys at the studio, you're very worried about the stigma of, an early access survival game, and you guys are really worried about how, this game is going to be, seen to the public market. But the thing is, I think you guys are already going about it a lot of the right ways. What I've been playing so far, even though it's a dev branch, it still feels very good and much better than a lot of these other early access games out there. And above all, it's $20. $20 for an early access game is probably one of the most
yeah.
reasonable things I've seen in a long time. You guys could easily charge more if you wanted to, but you're not. So you're taking the high road here. So I doubt you're really going to get a bunch of flack from the community, as another early access open world survival game, because you guys are, again, you're doing a lot of shit different than a lot of other people, and I think people are going to notice
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
sorry,
Just,
you go ahead.
what I just want to say, like, all you just said, it's totally true, you know, and I agree with you. But what we also need to, we as developers don't want people to think, oh yeah, they put a price of $20. You know, is this just an excuse to put out a half-assed product out? We also want, we really, that's why we always talk to the community. We're all the time active with them, because we we want you guys to get to know, game parsers, the developers, the guys who are making Scam, so that they know how, okay, they put a $20 price tag, not because they, okay, it's gonna be a low price, we can put anything out, not because that, because, okay, the game will be in early access, we want to reward people who will support us from the beginning, with a lower price, and that's just it. It's just we are trying to show our gratitude to people who like the idea behind Scam and just want to support us. And that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just straight out communication. We're trying to be always as transparent as possible. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much stuff you try to hide, it will float up. People will know it.
Right.
Just be honest and truthful with your community, and that's it.
Well, I think the cool thing is you guys are making a game that you yourselves want to play, and you're sharing that with others.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think I need to see that on a shirt. One of the Scum shirts, one of the convict shirts that says, "Hey, $20 is $20."
Dude, that's such a good
And
idea.
working with
I'd wear it.
Devolver,
I'd
that's
wear
kind
it.
of like
Yeah,
up their
fuck yeah,
alley.
I would, dude.
Devolver like shit like
Hey,
that.
can I get my setgasms in the chat, boys? Please.
I actually my boss bought me a shirt on Gamescom last year. Like, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20.
Hey, that's
So, yeah.
that's a good slogan though, honestly. I like it.
Yeah. So. Well, okay, I can't really. Um, People asked us about merch, about these shirts in particular. But what I can say is you will be able to get them for a pretty low price tag, actually. That's all I can say for now.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
We don't. I mean, it's just merch. I don't
Gonna
think
be
people are gonna be too high strung
repping the
about that.
Scum.
Should be cool.
I have a hard time, holding in that information that I want to share.
Oh no, it's fair. Trust me, I know all about that, dude. I've definitely made some mistakes in the past. That's for damn sure.
Just 3 days more, guys. Just 3 days. And
Yeah,
that's
we're almost there, boys.
Holding out.
Let's see. So let's go ahead. I think we talked about PvP, and actually, I want to ask you one thing about PvP because people were curious about that. What's the damage model looking like? Are you guys going for like super realism? You know, any gun shot to the head will kill you. How's the armor gonna work? You know, a lot of just like how's the gun? How are the guns gonna feel? You know, are you guys going for like really arcadey shooting? Are you guys going for something that's more like, you know, DayZ and Arma, where it's like because I know you guys' ballistic model is very, very complex and very awesome. But I did notice the gunplay does feel a bit cartoony in terms of the recoil, because like, you know, the crosshair will increase and it'll just kind of divert rounds up and down and left and right, you know, diverting from the muzzle. So what is your guys' goals with that, and like how generally quick is the time to kill gonna be?
Well, again, it will depend on your character, you know. First of all, like as you said, we try to make our ballistics as real as possible. We have a whole video on it that people can look up. Again, how you can handle a gun will depend. If you want to make a character that will focus on gunplay, you know, you'll be able to handle it good. You know, you'll be strong. You'll have a bit more strength. You'll put some points into the rifle skill. You know, you'll be able to hold your gun steady, focus better, shoot it in a more dense circle, and be more accurate. But if you're like a weaker person, you know, that is not that strong, and if you start shooting a gun, you know, it's gonna go all around, you know, like you do in real life as well.
Okay.
One thing that we are really like still looking into it, and what would be the best way, because like you can have too much realism because the game still needs to be fun.
Right.
You know?
Of course. So at the end of the day, you know, the people try and make these realistic simulation games, and you guys have a lot of realistic simulations. I mean, you guys have like 10 different kinds of poop, and you can look at your poop to see what your health is like. You know, you can literally see what the guy, like how healthy is this guy by looking at his poop, legitimately.
Yeah.
And so you're doing a lot of realistic stuff, but at the same time, again, you know, you got to balance realism and fun, because if it's too tedious, like if I have to do my fucking taxes in a game, that's not fun. Nobody likes doing their taxes. All right, it's too much realism.
I mean, what you asked, like a headshot, well, like one bullet to the head, will it kill you? I mean, yes, of course. If you take a bullet to the head, you're pretty much dead. But like, if you have maybe a helmet, and like, if a gun can pierce the helmet, pretty much any like big rifle can pierce a helmet.
Right.
To my knowledge, Chris, don't kill me if I said something wrong. But like, if you shoot from like say 100 meters with a 9mm gun, there's a certain possibility.
It loses a lot of its velocity, and it could ricochet off of armor or helmet.
And maybe kill another guy who doesn't wear a helmet. Wear a helmet.
Totally.
It's important. So yeah, like also the same will be with like vests and armor on your body. The one thing that we are still also looking into it, the good approach, what would be like, let's say you shoot with a sniper from a big distance. We got that feedback from Marines, from like real soldiers. One guy said like he was wearing a vest, you know, when he got hit with a sniper rifle from a certain distance, he was on the ground immediately, you know. You get stunned, that impact will just like throw you
actually
back.
Believe it or not, contrary to popular belief, when you get shot, there's generally not a lot of guns out there will actually put you on your ass. Usually what happens is there's that, I think the video you're talking about where the Marine got shot and he fell on his ass, what that actually usually is panic and shock, because you're like, oh my god, I just got shocked, and your body overreacts and you just fell over, because
I'm saying that's the situation that
okay, I was confused then. I was thinking about something else.
I mean, that's what he said, it had happened to him, you know. So what's he lying or not, I can say, but like, he was wearing a bulletproof vest, you know.
Yeah.
And the impact of the bullet when it went to it, you know, it threw him on the ground.
Right.
I guess if he didn't wear the bulletproof vest, I'm pretty sure he would be dead.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, yeah. What my point is, like, we want to see, like, do we want to like that kind of gameplay, you know, where you walk, somebody shoots you from that side. If you have a bulletproof vest, will we go like, okay, you have an indicated damage, you're like really close to death. Do we want to add that impact that you get like thrown back, staggered, you know? So we will need to decide, you know, what approach would be the best for the game, so that it's still fun, but it's still realistic. So that's my point. That was.
I think that's pretty cool. I like the idea of somebody getting hit, like, you know, in some type of armor or protection, and definitely being kind of, you know, some type of disorientation or stun or something like that. I think for a game element, or a gameplay mechanic is nice. I'd like that. Because it kind of sucks. Like you hit somebody with a big sniper rifle who's running full sprint, and they're just like, "Ha ha! You hit my best, you idiot!" You know, it's like, come on, man. I hit this guy like 3 times, 400 meters.
Like also what we heard from experience is that when you get shot, you don't know from where you got shot. Now people like when the shock hits in, adrenaline. You know that you're shot, but you can say, "Oh yeah, he shot me from that building, from that window." That's not how it is. Next question.
Esper?
So I was talking about this last night, and I was really curious, will there be any advantages to grouping up? So let's say you have different people with different skill sets and different things that they're better at. Will that affect you as a group in, how you improve your skills, how you'll improve your abilities? Are there any group benefits to grouping up, or is it just the safety in numbers?
Well, for now, it's just gonna be the safety numbers. I mean, it will always be awesome to have somebody that will at one point have a big medical skill, and be able to treat various diseases or situations that you get in. So that's a plus for itself, like when you're alone, you don't know that, and you get like shot, and you get a disease or something like that, and you don't know how to treat it. So for now, like the sheer aspect that you have people from various skill sets and knowledge base, is a perk for itself. We'll see. Maybe we also talked about it. Okay, do we want like when you grouped up, maybe make certain actions together that you get more frame points that you would be getting if you would do it alone? Just maybe to even get more like initiative to team up actually more than go kill people. So yeah, we would like that, but for now it's just hey, we're together. We no we can handle situations better as a group. For now, that's the biggest blessing.
Yeah. So can we talk a little bit about the systems in the game and how the medical systems will work, the metabolism, how you're going to heal up? Because I think that when I first started playing the game and looked at the vitals and everything, it was overwhelming. I saw it first attacks, then when I was testing it at home, and there's a lot of stuff. So can you go a little bit over like what maybe we should focus on, what people should look at first, and how it progresses from there?
Well, yeah, the one point that we always make and always will make, when you see that whole window with the vitals, the metabolism, minerals, vitamins, that's you don't need to keep track of that 24/7 if you don't want. You really actually don't need to at all if you're not the person for it. The best situation they can like nobody of us takes into account how much B12 vitamin they took in today. Nobody really. Like the best case scenario, if you like work out and are into that, you'll keep track of how much proteins, maybe minerals for your muscle regeneration and that. And that's just the people who are into stuff like that. So pretty much when you enter the game, you have that screen. You have in the bottom left corner, you have health, you have stamina, energy, hydration, and you have that little guide down there. That's if you're not into that deep of simulation and deep part, those 4 aspects are totally fine. If health goes down, something's wrong. You look up just what's wrong with your body. Are you maybe injured? Do you have a certain disease? Are you maybe cold, or are you maybe overheating? If you lose maybe too much water from the body, there's those simple situations that you can just look up to, and you'll be totally fine playing the game. If you play the game, you find food, you eat it when you're hungry, you drink when you're thirsty, and you're totally fine. You don't have to worry about all of that scary metabolism. But if you're on the other side, are a hardcore player who really likes their numbers, likes to crunch them, go knock yourself out. That's for you. That's your stuff. That's your forte. You go drop it. Yeah, that answer it in a way.
I do have a question, kind of going into how you said about like how, if you're a hardcore character, you want to monitor all this stuff, and you can do that if you like. I know there's going to be an eventual feature in the game where you're going to be able to remove the chip in the back of your head. And what that'll do is
Yes.
it'll like remove your HUD. You cannot
Mhm.
monitor your BCU anymore, so you can't see
No.
your intake for anything. And that's going to really be for like the true hardcore guys who, you know, like limited HUD and they want to have different advantages. And personally, I see that's the way I will be playing the game, is I'll be removing that chip so I can't be detected by these robots and stuff. What other advantages are there going to be to removing the chip from the back of your head? Because obviously, you know, taking the hit of not being able to see how hurt you are, you know, how sick you are, what your metabolism's doing, not being able to see any of that. What is going to be the positive trade-off for taking that chip out?
Well, it's firstly stay to the lore. You know, if you have the chip and the companies, they can monitor it. They know where you are. They know what you're doing pretty much all the time. We will also probably at one point maybe add that aspect to the sentries as well. So when you remove it, you know, you're you're out of the system. You know, you are on the island still. You need to escape, but they don't know where you are. They know what to track you. Maybe you'll be able, when you remove it, to enter certain zones that with the chip you can. You know, so those will be the aspects if you want more. Uh, that that part will probably come like later on. You won't be able to remove the chip just
Is
yet.
that like an end game kind of deal for you
Yes,
guys?
this will be the end game. And to remove the chip, it will need more people, and it's not gonna be
Yeah,
easy.
it's
You
not an
just
easy
can't put it
task.
on.
Yeah, it's like you probably have to. I imagine, you know, I've seen the bunkers and all the experimental labs, and I imagine you have to get to the labs and get equipment and probably find a guy who's intelligent enough to even perform the operation, and it could probably like get you killed or something. You know, I'm sure you guys are gonna take
Yes.
it to a bunch of different levels. I'm sure.
Uh, what people also need to take into account that once you remove the chip, obviously you don't have the HUD, but you still need to give a player informations of what's going on with your character. You know, you just can't be, oh, okay, I remove the chip. You get like a disease that's killing you from inside, but you know you're just standing, you're running,
You don't. Yeah, you
and
don't know what
that's
to do.
like we need to make it that way that you get actually info. You know that, oh, okay, if something's wrong, if you're, I don't know, if you hurt your arm, that he's looking at the arm, he sees something that's wrong, it hurts him, so you know how to proceed.
Okay.
You need to know what's going on with your character.
Do you think there'll be like a skill where maybe you could do like a buddy med system and somebody get like a high medical skill and they could do a checkup on your character and see how you're doing and they could give you a
Yeah,
diagnosis on like how well you are. So that could also, you know, maybe encourage some team play for the end game once you remove the
yeah,
chip, you know?
that's already in game. Depending,
Oh,
you
really?
can
Oh, that's awesome. I
you
did
can
not know
also,
that. That's awesome.
yeah, you can also do a self diagnose, uh, but
It depends on your
in
skill.
in later stages when we add more diseases and problematics in the game, if your skill is low, it's gonna say, oh, it's okay, you know, nothing's wrong. But because of your low skill, it's possible that something is wrong. You're just not good enough to actually know it.
Right.
So again, it's good to have somebody in with you that
Yeah.
can actually make a good diagnose.
Yeah, like you think you got a scratch and you think it's just a scratch, but little did you know there's rust on that and you got tetanus, you know, and you know, that's that. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's really cool, and that kind of makes up for, you know, losing the HUD is being able to diagnose yourself and all that goodness. And obviously, your guy does like the pee pee dance and stuff like that when he has to pee and poop because you have to manage that in the game. You know, eventually you'll reach to a point if you don't poop for a while, your guy will just squat. I'm honestly just waiting for a sniper highlight video of somebody shooting people in the head while they poop. I'm just waiting for whoever's gonna make that video first.
Yeah.
I see it happening.
Shot the stool right out of his ass, boy.
He tried to I like cut the poop off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised like how much physics and mechanics is and defecate in the game when you
Whoever
see.
worked on the poop went ham for like a week. Right? There's like
Yeah,
there's 11 different animations. There's like 11 different types of poop. Right? All different
like
consistencies and sizes.
it's like it's just amazing, you know. Sometimes I like, what are we even doing, you know? But hey,
We've
it's
gone too
shaping up being
far.
awesome. So yeah.
That
Science has
level
gone
of
too
depth
far.
is really great, though. I think like that alone, you know, just from the level of depth, will offer a lot of, you know, a lot of different people's play styles. You know, they'll find out what they want to get into and what they want to figure out. I think it'll, that's a good thing, that level of depth, because there hasn't been a whole lot of games that have had, you know, touched on a lot of different things and like crazy detail. So
I think we can all
that'll
agree
be
a lot of the best games out there have like a lot of these really small, detailed features that paint up the bigger picture of the game instead of just
Oh,
like
yeah.
a bunch of big
Yeah.
features that are very shallow.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think that
the whole. Sorry, I just want to say like, when we were like starting up with Scum, uh, as everybody knows, survival games that have zombies shooting, they're hated. Why? Because they're all bad. People tell that they're all bad, and we were like, well, why don't we make a good one? I mean, what's the issue? I mean, obviously there's issues that people need to solve to make a good survival game. I want to think that, and with the input that we get from testers, you guys, that we're on a good track of it. Like, why don't somebody just makes a really good survival game that will stick out, and be a success? And I guess we are going towards that as it looks for now.
No, it very much does. I mean, there's the early access stigma like you guys were worried about, and there's a lot of people who have made games
Yeah.
just to make a quick buck. That, and we know that they make an unfinished product and then just like just leave it there unfinished, and all right, got the
Really?
money, now
Yeah,
we're
yes,
done.
yeah.
It's unfortunate that that's how the industry kind of is nowadays, but at the end,
Early access is an awesome system, really.
Yeah.
It's an awesome system. But yeah, it was abused, and of course, people are paranoid with reason. When in the start when people come, oh, you're just gonna be another failure with the rest of them.
Mhm.
I I understand, his point of view, because that person probably got uh, scammed. I don't know, call it what you wanted, but he gave money and it didn't deliver in a prolonged time. So I understand the fear and the paranoia, and the predicament that people find themselves into it when they see another survival game coming into early access.
Yeah.
This totally understand. We're trying to break the stigma. We're really trying
Well,
to do it.
to be honest, I think you guys are like once this comes out,
Yeah.
I think the stigma will at least for your game will definitely be cut a bit.
We'll definitely try our best.
so
sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say maybe now is a good time to look at the roadmap, because I think that everybody kind of looks to that when they buy an early access game, right? They want to see what the plan is for the future. So I'll try to pull it up right here on the page. And could you maybe walk us through it? What you guys are looking to do?
Yeah, I'll be able to pull it up on stream here in a sec. It'll just be on the start page, right?
Sure. Yep. I saw it there. I'm pretty sure I am.
Server renting, developer stream. Not seeing it. Oh wait, here we go. Okay, here we go.
So, Wonder, what are the earliest plans you have right now for release? Like, what are you most looking forward to seeing in action in people's hands?
Well, so once the game will come out, obviously we'll need some time to take all the feedback from players. How it will probably end up being is that people will find ways to break the game. Find some crucial bugs, because it's gonna have bugs. We'll probably focus on fixing them. The biggest ones that cause biggest issues. Once that is done. Uh, to be honest, we all will probably need to sit down as developers, and see, okay, what did the community say? Of course, we had a lot of people telling us, okay, guys, it's okay to listen to the community, but you still need to make your own game. No worries, then. We know what Scum is, we know what Scum will be, and how we will build it up. We'll just do it with the feedback of the community. We even had ideas, maybe, okay, what features would we will present them, like 3, 4, 5 features. What do you guys would like to see in the game sooner, and make a list with that, to also get input from that perspective. So what we will do, we'll see. We're pretty flexible regarding that, and we'll see what would be the best for Scum, best for the people as well. So yeah, I can't really pinpoint after the release, week after, yeah, this is the feature that will be in, and after a month, this is what will be in. So I said, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one other thing I wanted to get. It might be, this is more, I guess, on the tech end, like on the art side. But all right, 2 words: ray tracing. Listen, my man, that new RTX 2080.
It just works. Yeah,
It
I need to
just
see the
works.
poop glisten. I want to see that diarrhea shine on the ground.
Yeah, when people ask me like RTX, like I don't know,
Yeah,
like
no, it's kind of one of
we,
those things.
we found out about it when everybody else did, you know. We can't say much about it. So yeah.
The
One
anti-aliasing
day-
does look pretty impressive, though. The new AA looks pretty sweet.
You know, it'd be, yeah. You guys can almost do a trailer of like the like the rays coming out of the person's eye going like into the poop, and then like subsurface scattering inside the poop. You know, the light bouncing around.
Well, this game's gonna become poop simulator, dude.
Yeah, they call it as well already that Poop Simulator 218.
Okay.
So,
You know, we pretty much covered almost everything. I think we should probably just start recapping now, unless there's anything else. I think we also have some questions from the community. We had a section in the Discord open in multiple different areas and a lot of different communities, including the unofficial Scum Discord and the Black Site Discord and a couple others. So I think we have some questions that we're going to be asking you. If one of my mods could PM me the list of questions, wherever that may be, unless it's on the doc. I don't think it is. No, we had a bunch of questions somewhere.
Sequisha, I just wanted to ask you one thing. As a broadcaster, like, what are you most looking forward to about streaming Scum?
Probably carving. I don't know, but because there's a lot of depth, that means there's a lot of room to like develop the meta. You know, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
There might be something really cool, you know, that can be done with you know, the characters. That's gonna be kind of neat and fun, you know, until like you know, it's changed or everyone does it, or yeah, I don't know. So that's gonna be one of the most fun things, I think, is kind of doing something a little bit, you know, I don't know, forming the meta, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to play a new game when, like, you know, if I go like picked up something like what's it called, Darkest Dungeon or something, everyone in chat's a goddamn expert already.
Now you gotta bring at least 5 bandages and 8 torches.
And it's just like, who are you? I don't know. It's nice to play it fresh without people, you know, up your ass.
No backseaters. You become the backseater.
Yeah.
Right.
Been around here longer than you,
I think it's definitely that kind of early discovery and just like the fresh eyes on a new game that, you know, nobody will tell you how to play.
Yeah, I'm really excited. For a lot of you guys who don't know, tomorrow the NDA lifts at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So first thing tomorrow before the game comes out in early access, you guys are going to see a lot of your favorite streamers be streaming this game. I was helping Wonder Here Network a lot, and you guys are going to see a bunch of people playing, dude. Tomorrow, it's going to be really great. I don't know how I don't know how popular the servers are going to be, because considering, you know, it's not out yet to the public. So hopefully we'll be able to get a couple servers full. So I'm excited for tomorrow, man. It should be a lot of fun.
There's gonna be a lot of streamers and YouTubers actually playing the game. We didn't open all servers, so you guys watch out. We have like, I don't know, 10 servers for you guys opened, so you'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
If people, so yeah, I think you'll have your piece of fun, especially once the floodgates open on the 29th. You know?
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, and I think it'll be good, like, warm up for the game. And again, you know, talking about the stigma of early access games and stuff like that, you know, it's going to kind of slowly feed it into the public, and that's kind of the way you'd want to do it. And you know, it's going to be great. I'm excited to see a lot of the content creators interacting with each other and see what kind of experiences they're going to have on stream with the game. I think it'll be pretty cool.
Voice chat is in the game.
Yeah, direct VoIP.
I'm pretty sure there was questions for that. I'm sure it's in the game.
Yeah, VoIP is there. Okay.
So, can I ask, in terms of VoIP, is it directional? Is it affected by buildings? Is it affected by structures?
To be honest, I have no idea what our sound guy did with
Oh,
that.
you're talking about like reverbing and
Like sound occlusion
Yeah.
is what you're asking. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tested that
I
out.
don't
It
know.
doesn't work like that yet. Me and Smoke were playing
Probably
last
just
night.
radial right now. Yeah.
Yeah, just
I think it's
distance.
pretty basic for now.
It goes in left to right ear, but
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's what I've experienced so far. I haven't tested it like in buildings or anything.
So for those of you guys in chat, mods, if you would put it on slow mode. If you guys got questions, we'll take a couple from the chat here before we wrap up and conclude here, because we're pretty much more or less done. We've covered all the topics that we had for today. So we'll give this a little bit of time for you guys to ask one or some questions. I saw a couple questions. VoIP is in the game. Let's see what we got here, boys.
Also, benchmarks you can find on our Discord as well. So that's, I guess that was also that question. Yeah, I don't know.
Here's a good question. Is there going to be some info on being able to like store gear at a trader city utilizing fame points, where it's like in a definite secure area? So like maybe once you go to the trader city, there'll be like a set of lockers, and you can pay to like have a stash there that you can store your items in. And it's guaranteed secured. Are you guys going to add any system like that?
We have an idea for safe areas, safe zones, or more precise, that's how it's called for now.
Or like trader
Uh,
cities?
Yeah, what the like fame points, as I said, a currency. It we mostly use there. Maybe even to like stashing items that, like you said, and like if you're not the whole medical guy, maybe go there and go into a medical bay that can heal you up as well. Because like, okay, like it's better that you have the option to heal in one way than when you get a disease and okay, now I just can kill myself, without going to avoid that one as well. So yeah, those save zones with various actions that can be done there, like trading fame points for maybe some equipment, some items, some crafting materials, maybe for your weapons if you have enough. Yeah, it's an idea and it's planned.
Okay. Esper and Sequisha, if you guys have any questions you see in the chat you'd like to ask, just please go ahead and do.
Right.
I'm keeping my eye out.
There was one that I think I saw somebody touch on before. Yeah, about the character stats. Like, at what point does it kind of would your character kind of like reset? Like when you die, like, do you have similar attributes from before? Or I mean,
As long as you can revive your character with fame points, you will keep the stats. At one point that you won't have enough fame points to revive your character, he will die and you will need to make a new one.
So you can basically kill
okay.
off a character essentially if you die too much.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you die and do you have a choice whether or not you want to revive that character with fame points or to start fresh? Do you have a choice like when you die, like in a character you're developing?
You will be able to delete your character from the server, like
okay.
in the menu.
Okay.
So you're not stuck with one for like.
Right.
Nice. Very nice.
And there will be also a suicide option in the game as well.
Ooh.
For some reason you wanna kill it.
Suicide by poop?
Well,
Hey, Clean, I'm gonna need you to take it easy.
I want you to go to that lake and drink all of that water.
I've actually seen this one asked a couple of times. Would you be able to ever play as a puppet? So once you've died, take control of your previous body and use that as a puppet.
Well, the idea was circulating in the office, but nothing ever was like set in stone. So for now, no. I will say for now, no.
Okay.
If there will be, it's gonna be a bonus.
Weapon modding. Are we going to be able to customize like weapons? Because right now, yeah, you can put scopes on them. You get different magazines, of course. But is there ever going to be any advanced forms of customization? Maybe be able to like switch out stocks and compensators and grips and stuff like that, or maybe laser sights and whatnot.
Maybe for now it is now just like with magazines, scopes, and rails. For now, we're pretty satisfied with that. But once like in early access, as we're going to develop the game, if we find like it's a good time, maybe to improve that, we can do it. It's a potential thing to do.
Oh, fantastic. Let's see if we got any other questions here.
Yeah, here. How about I see this one. Can you make markers on your mini maps? So when you squad up, I think it'll be really useful to be able to mark stashes and meetup points and things like that. Would that be a kind of thing that we would see in the game?
For now, no. For now, it's not. Uh, the initial idea was that you won't be able to have the minimap at all when you press M. Testers had that option, still have, and we will also include it in the early access. That you can pull up a map and actually see stuff where you're going. So you know what you want to do. That you can have a goal and that don't just be lost.
I always imagined the map was available to you because of the BCU monitor. You can track yourself via GPS, and I thought that was kind of like the idea. And maybe once you remove it, you can't see your map anymore or something. I don't know what your guys' plan is.
At one point we'll definitely want to also add a physical map. Maybe even to have some sort of navigation skill that can maybe help you around.
That'd be cool.
To maybe try your own. But yeah, we'll see. For now, there you can like put markers for that you asked.
I've got quick ones. Like we don't have to go into detail about it. Day-night cycles. Is it quick, or is there a day-night cycle, or is it just day?
Yes.
Okay, so like how swift would it be for like a full cycle?
One 24 hours in Scum is 6 hours in real life. 4 hours is day, 2 hours is night.
Oh, okay. And one other thing, that thing that's on the back of the head, what is it called? It's like
PCU, body
PCU?
control.
Okay. That thing, is it visible in the dark, like at night?
It glows, yes.
It's like lit up. Okay.
You wear a balaclava or a hat or something to cover it up.
Okay. And then one other thing, is there like a ping limit or some type of region locking for servers, or any plans for that? Because if you have somebody connecting to the server that's got a 300 to 500 ping or whatever, trashing it, might degrade performance, of course.
For now, we did not implement something like that.
A ping lock would be great.
Yeah. Well, we can definitely look into it, but for now, we didn't really have the time for that.
Yeah.
All right. You know what, guys? I think we'll go ahead and wrap up here and conclude. We're looking at about 2 hours here. I'm personally very hungry. I haven't eaten all day. And Sequisha's been up for God knows how long. So just a quick little recap on everything, guys. We went over the loot progression, starting game, early game, mid game, end game. We went over how the loot economy is going to work, the variety of weapons and, areas of the loot economy in the environment. So like you go to a military base, you'll find military tier items, police station, police gear, civilian stuff, etc., etc. We went over a lot of the different kind of play styles you're going to be able to have in Scum. You're going to be able to diversely make your character vastly different from other people, and when you go into the environment, it's going to totally change the way your character is shaped and formed with the skills, ability, and his physique in the environment as well. We went over the events, PvP, combat, PvE, more player skills, metabolism, and maintaining your character. And just in closing here, I'd just like to let you guys know, once the game is released here in 3 days, Black Site got a partnership with G-Portal, who is going to be hosting most of Scum's servers, if not all of them from my understanding. And we're going to have 4 servers up, I believe, on launch day. We probably will have some locked, some whitelisted, etc., etc. But we'll have servers for you guys to play on, and we're going to be building a large structure in the Discord for you guys to meet other people with and play Scum together with, so that you guys can just make friends and play games together. Because at the end of the day, we're gamers. Playing games with each other is a lot of fun. So if you guys aren't a part of the Discord, definitely come check it out. And with that being said, big thank you to Wonder for showing up and taking the time to hang out and answer our questions and be a part of the Black Site podcast here. Sequisha, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and staying up all damn night to be on this dang podcast. And
no, it's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, and Esper, thank you so much for co-hosting. It's always a pleasure to have you around. And with everybody here, sorry.
Thank you for inviting me. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure, man. I hope to do another one here in the future. So in closing, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your days. I will talk to you guys very soon. Tomorrow, the NDA will be lifted at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's when you'll start seeing streamers start to stream the game. So I'll talk to you guys very soon. Peace out. Take care. I'm going to probably go host somebody. Let's go see who's on. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Take it easy.